Hi there, my name is Rowan. I'm a small indie and alternative hyperpop artist, but today I'm going to be talking about something very different in a video that I've never done before, so please work with me if it's a little rough. This is my first time trying something out like this, and something that I'm really passionate about talking about. As if you know, that I have an alternative YouTube account called Fortunes where I talk about horror, aesthetics, and video game stuff. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave that in the description as well, with all of my sources as well, where I've gotten my information from, because this is a very serious topic that I'm going to be talking about today. Trigger warning for domestic abuse and violence. If that does trigger you, please contact help as you need. There will be a hotline in the link in description as well. Without further ado, let's get talking about today's video.
Is your name Julian Comeau?
Well, today I want to talk about the singer Julian Comeau from the indie rock band Loveless. Also, I'm going to be looking at my script a lot today because I do not want to mess up anything that I tell you guys, because I do want to make sure everything is definitive a fact, and I do not want to spread any misinformation. So I'm very sorry if I'm not looking at the camera very much. I am going to be looking at my script, if that makes sense. But talking about Julian Comeau from Loveless, who recently got a popular start in the year of 2021. The band alone has over 1.2 million monthly listeners, and their top 3 songs almost have a total of 130 million streams combined. The band is very successful and is very well known on TikTok, with Julian making very popular pop goes punk styled covers, I could say, as the most popular one definitely being Please 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 by Sabrina Carpenter, as you probably heard it from right here.
Break is one thing, my ego's another. I beg you, don't embarrass my motherfucker.
Well, as everything obviously was going right with this duo, shit seriously went down on August 12th when a person by the name of Kendall on Twitter posted threads about Julian's charge of domestic battery way back in 2018. It would definitely cause an outrage on all of their social media platforms, and even call for the openers of their recent 2024 tour to cancel it as soon as possible and cancel the tour completely, and obviously the band. It caused their record label Rise to drop them, as the link to their page no longer even existed, and the guitars from the band recently left. So how did we get to this point of this chaos erupting in just a few hours? Let's talk about it, on where it started and how it finished, and how this band was possibly going to be one of the biggest pop punk indie bands to now just a faint memory. Also, I want to thank you to Valerie's Voice on TikTok and Twitter, or X, for a lot of the points she made in this video. It helped me definitely a lot with cutting down on the research I had to do. So thank you very much if you are watching this video. You definitely mean a lot. Her video and her accounts will be in the description as well with everything else. So let's start off with who is Loveless. The band duo started their fame in 2020 and signed with BMG and Rise Records in 2023. They released their first song called Better in 2020 and got very well received feedback. The band dropped their debut album Loveless 1 as independent artists on June 4th, 2021. The album had 12 original tracks and even a cover of Taylor Swift's Exile. Fast forward to September 16th, 2022, they released their first EP called End of an Era, featuring 7 new songs and 2 very popular covers, Middle of the Night and Running Up That Hill, which are some of their top string songs again, well, today. Julian did produce a lot of Loveless's music, and even producing and mixing some very popular metal songs to the metal community, such as myself. He would do songs such as Ice Nine Kills Thriller. He would do the vocal edits for that. He would do I Prevail's Trauma with vocal edits and background vocals. Falling in Reverse's Popular Monster with vocal edits and background vocals. Black Veil Bride's Saints of the Blood background vocals. Sleeping with Sirens Complete Collapse, writer and co-producer on that complete album. Julian had an excellent track record for many artists, especially Sleeping with Sirens, as singer Kellen Quinn. He had 2 songs together with them, and those songs are very well popular as well. The band started gaining a lot of traction on TikTok like before by doing pop punk covers, mainly from Julian doing big hits like Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish and About Damn Time by Lizzo, Middle of the Night, which he eventually made into a song on the album, and Unholy by Sam Smith and Kim Petras. And even when he did that, there was some mix-up at the time, as Unholy was so new that people didn't know whose song it actually was. Not that big of a deal though. But it wasn't until Lizzo reacted to the reaction of About Damn Time, which boosted their popularity a lot, because obviously, Lizzo has a giant following, and they even got regular play on Sirius XM's Octane and Kerrang Radio. And I'm not going to talk about their tour history, but I will speak about the tour that got this drama started, and it started with a band called Waterparks. So about the time of October 20th, 2023, the indie band Waterparks announced their 2024 headlining tour, Sneaking Out of Heaven, with the headliner of Loveless and other supporting artists on select dates. I, funny enough, did go to this show for Pop Tropica Sluts in March, so that was fun, I would say. It was an interesting show, but I would say an overall good time. I wasn't a huge fan of Waterparks at the time, and still kind of am not till this day, so I did leave after Loveless. So the tour finished in April, and after that, Julian started tweeting at Austin from Waterparks, the lead singer. But before I get into these tweets, I want to point out that Julian and Austin are both not innocent in this case, and no one come after me for this, including Loveless or Waterparks fan. I am just reading the tweets and the receipts as it is given. So I'm going to start quoting a following set of tweets and pause if you need to give more time to read along. It's going to start with Julian saying, "Touring is hard for sure, but there is a certain band we toured with that nearly killed me." Julian obviously referring to Waterparks. "If you're offended by this tweet, maybe stop being evil on Twitter and go to therapy, because I thought about killing myself on that tour repeatedly. Y'all are cruel." Someone replied to Julian saying, "I hope you're in therapy too." He replied with the comment, "Yeah, I'm definitely the problem here. Good job. You're doing so well judging people talking about self-harm. You're doing great talking shit all about. Keep going. This is healthy and definitely not bad." I don't know if there's any context to this before, but I definitely can see that Julian is going through something mentally, and it's more definitely starting to show as these tweets unravel. More tweets from Julian showed him comparing stream numbers between him and Waterparks, such as Waterparks' new song, FAI2, had 766,000 streams, and Loveless's new song, Heart-Shaped Soul, had almost 1 million streams at 958,000. He quotes the name of the song as well, commenting saying, "We can fuck about it later if you want," which is also a lyric from the song, as it seems like he is mocking him in a way, or celebrating it, as he is a smaller artist getting more streams from it, but that is all Julian said with no context. Okay, now this next part is definitely mockery coming from Julian to Waterparks, as Waterparks' album did not come out because they no longer felt good about the album and believed the universe was working against it. That was a quote from them, also dealing with mental health issues at the time. I'll talk more about that a little bit later. Julian would reply with this saying, "The irony is, the Loveless record still comes out on September 13th. And I'm not going to cancel it due to poor reaction. And if that is offensive to you, you weren't going to listen to it anyway." Obviously not reading everything the Parks fans said, I knew they did not take this well at all. I think we can all agree on that. So Julian responded to them with, "I'm referring to Parks' tweet. Suppose poor reactions to Loveless. Not Waterparks. Austin is still more rich and famous than me. Parks will be just fine. I'm saying people telling me I'm a flop will not stop me. And quite frankly, I'm not going to take it any more from them. I get that people who defend Austin because he's a baby girl, but he's a millionaire and I have $20 in my bank account. I am so proud of how hard I work to promote my shit, and I will flex out streaming a band like Parks because a weird majority of their fans treat me like dirt, LOL." All right, so that's a lot to unfold as I just read. So it sounds like, and this is what I'm going to go based off of context from Julian, obviously, and it sounds like Julian was just tired of the hate from Waterparks fans, which respectfully have had a bad reputation in the past, so understandable from that point of perspective. And it's also understand to have a high ego when you're out streaming an artist like Parks, especially when you're at Loveless just starting and Waterparks having a huge fan base. But what is not okay with what Julian was doing is adding to this fire constantly over and over again. Also insulting them for canceling an album. And I am also an artist who is very small, but I can understand to the point of where you need to cancel an album or a song due to poor mental health. Sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. Sometimes it just doesn't feel right. And I completely agree with Waterparks' perspective on doing this. And if they ever do release that album, good luck to the album and hope it does well. So I will say on Julian's end, that was a very low blow to the fans and Austin and every one of the members from Waterparks himself. But after these sets of tweets, Julian did deactivate his Twitter, so all of this I am getting from the Wayback or TikTok accounts. But Austin went on an alternative account called Parks After Dark, which is a private Twitter that he hosts, and he had a few things to say to Julian. It starts with, "I always said that boy belongs in front of a ring light, not a Parks crowd. Oh, he's gone already. Sounds right. Julian for when comes back in 2 days. Again, I know you can't fathom operating or release anything but numbers because you're simply a TikToker at your gut. But sometimes when you're an artist, it's bigger than that. Stay down." Already, Austin holding nothing back from what Julian previously had to say and is attacking straight from the heart. Austin continues to tweet to a reply that has some serious allegations coming from Julian, which we would talk about later in this series of tweets. While we're at it, the photo below reads, "Little creep Snapchatting underage fans on tour and then playing the victim when people say that's weird, LMFAO, fucking idiot, ooh. Everyone mad at me. I'll go away forever. Until 2 days from now." The problem with this PR play is if you swing, you're supposed to win. We have a real history and real foundation. You have covers on an app. You're out of your depths, boy. Jeez, this just keeps going, and obviously Austin referring to Julian's covers on TikTok as Waterparks is more not leaning towards that direction, if that makes sense. The tweets keep reading. "Bro, we gotta get a pic. Not bitch, your crew keep telling me what a piece of shit you are. LMAO, stop yelling at your crew, Julian." Obviously mocking how the way he would talk to him, or in a way that's what it seems like. Just to top this off, though, as well, was a grand slam from Austin. And I know this is very serious, but I think this is a little funny. Austin sends Julian $20 through Venmo, it seems like, to double the net worth talk. How Julian was talking about how he only had $20 in his bank account earlier, which I think is a little bit funny. So continuing, though, love or hate Austin, I thought that was pretty funny. But wait, there's still a lot more to unravel. Someone tweeted to Austin in this Parks account saying, "And I got weird vibes as soon as he came in that stage and started thrusting his hips at the crowd. LMAO. Austin replies with, "Bro, we were all crying and laughing backstage, imitating the hip thrust. He thought just because he wore a skirt on stage, we'd all be bowing down to him." Austin says, "Peter Pander over here." So to definitely unravel all of this, what did Austin do that was right and wrong? Yes. Look, to talk shit intensely back on the situation is a lot, but thinking about when the tour started, let's backpedal a little bit. Waterparks gave Loveless, a small band at the time and still relatively small, well now disband, gave this the huge opportunity to grow their fan base and their music, and it did tons for them, obviously, if you look at their numbers prior to the tour and after. And now to shit talk back on the band that gave you that opportunity and that time slot is really shitty on Julian's part. But on Austin's end, snapping back at that very intensely, also not 50-50, but again, I really don't want to give my personal opinions on this, so if you guys want to talk about that in the comments, we can do that, but I just want to stick this video to base facts and everything that we have that's direct right now. So now I want to go back to the allegations part, because that is a huge thing in this situation. I'm going to call this, I guess, the minor situation. Not minor, but minors, if that... Moving on. So apparently some people did know about Julian being on Snapchat, and there were mixed reactions at the time. Either A, he uses Snapchat and therefore is a predator, so let's cancel him. Or B, the opposite side of the spectrum, which was just straight up no. He uses Snapchat and that doesn't make it true. Just because majority of the platform users on Snapchat do sometimes turn out to be predators, that doesn't make this case in Julian true. Which, understandable. Julian reportedly responded to those people at the time and said he understood where they were getting that connotation from and deleted the Snapchat right away. Some stories also came out of the time when he was using the Snapchat, saying he was doing unsolicited things to these minors, but nothing has been expanded on or talked about since then of those situations, so I'm really not going to get into those. My heart goes out to those victims if those stories are true, but right now it has not been confirmed or denied on any aspect of that. But there is proof of nasty things coming out from minors said to Julian, such as come on him or weird, disgusting remarks, which also not okay at the time as well. But I do want to move forward just because there is quite a bit to talk about, and we have one more big Twitter thread to talk about later that is confirmed as of right now, I believe. So let's keep going forward. But what I also want to point out before we move forward is what is fact and what is illegal, or what is weird and what is illegal, I should say. What is a fact in this situation, and yes, this is true, it is very weird to have parasocial relationships with your fans, and it's not okay. But one thing that makes it different is that it's not illegal. He wasn't sexting, grooming, or having any illegal activities with these minors at this time. I want to point out it is August 20th at 12:50 a.m. So things could have changed when I upload this or as I'm editing it when it comes out. But another thing I want to point out is that he's getting 100 messages a day, possibly even more on this Snapchat. He is not checking the ages of these people that are messaging him, and that's just a valid point. We all know that that's not the first thing that comes to your mind. So there's really just a 50-50 situation on what the hell actually was going on with this Snapchat Julian had on the tour. So I guess really only time can tell if more information comes out on the Snapchat, but it's just something to point out if that makes sense. Let's move on to our next big thread, the charges. On August 12th, a user on X or Twitter by the name of Kendall came out with the following sets of tweets. I will read all of these tweets and then we will talk about it after because it is a lot. Also, trigger warning for a domestic abuse and violence coming up because this is where the main part of it is going to stand. Trigger warning, domestic abuse. In 2018, Julian Comeau from Loveless was charged with domestic battery abuse. It was later dropped down to a simple battery, which he was convicted of. I have spoken with the victim, and she has trusted me to share some of the details from this case. Then they ushered out a few threads that talked about Julian's domestic abuse charge, and here we go. Louisiana State Court records confirms that in March 2018, Comeau, being a household member, did intentionally use force or violence upon the person of another household member. I have redacted the victim's name for her safety and privacy. The domestic abuse charge was later dropped down to a simple battery charge, which Comeau was convicted of. The victim says Comeau tried to throw her over the balcony, and that wasn't the first time he laid hands on her. She says that he also slapped her in a bar. There was a protection order placed upon the victim, but it expired in October of 2018. But the victim still says Comeau blocked on every form of social media and communication service. As of 2020, Comeau has completed all conditions of his probation. As of today, the victim is not comfortable coming forward herself, and she has trusted me to share these documents and a personal statement that she has written. Please be advised that her statement may be difficult to read due to the details of abuse she shares. So now I'm going to read the statement that the person has read. If you need more time again to read as well, because it is very long, please pause if needed, or speed up the video, whatever you want to do. I used to be afraid to tell my side of the sad story due to backlash from the past bandmates. They said I would be ruining their lives and careers, so it scared me to death. Even with having him placed under arrest, I got backlash from the people who tried to tell me about his anger issues in the first place. At the end of the day, Julian is a dangerous, scary individual who does not deserve a platform or to escape the wrongdoings he has committed. One of those being the emotional, mental, and physical abuse from our direct situation. I cannot speak on the minor allegations, but I can speak from my own experience. It started with him punching a hole in our apartment wall during a Broadway audition, and him becoming angry when he couldn't get the right takes. He demeaned my mental health and slapped me in a public bar where masses of people chased him out because they saw what happened. He abused me on my birthday night and tried to throw me over our balcony when I just wanted to enjoy the rest of my night and pack my things in the morning and leave on my own terms, considering my furniture was in the apartment. It ended by me getting away from him in the fear of my life, defending myself and him throwing my phone over the balcony as I tried to call the police. I wouldn't be coming forward about any of this if I didn't think he was still dangerous, but with all of this recent talks and seeing how he still speaks, I know deep down this is still the same person who did a number of things. I feel awful for about not coming forward sooner, but I tried to block it out and heal and move on, and I really hope this reaches the appropriate audience. Kendall continues to read the thread as, "This thread is not intended to be a gotcha moment. The victim says she wants Comeau's young fans to know the truth about him as an individual. This is not a Twitter feud anymore. Julian Comeau committed a crime and the victim wants the fans to know the truth." This case has resurfaced after rumors flooded Twitter about Comeau. There has been allegations of him talking to underage fans, mistreating his crew, and ultimately domestic violence. While I don't know the validity of other claims, the battery charge is undeniable. Please respect the victim's privacy with this case. This is not an easy thing to talk about, and she has shown tremendous bravery in coming forward with these details. Kendall then proceeds to put the hotline for domestic abuse, which I will also be putting in the description of this video as well. After these set of tweets were placed by Kendall, obviously it was an outroar on every social media: Instagram, Facebook, private Instagrams, TikToks, and many more. And after these tweets dropped, this is when everything ensued from Loveless. After these tweets were dropped, the guitarist from the band, Dylan, had removed his name of Loveless from everything, including Facebook and Instagram, to separate himself completely from the project. The two openers for the upcoming 2024 Loveless headliner tour made separate tweets and Instagram posts about dropping the tour with Loveless, posted right here. Pause if you need to read as well. After that, it seemed as if all shows were canceled as soon as possible, and Ticketmaster pulling all purchase dates and options as soon as they could. It then proceeded with the reps for Loveless at Cardiff Giant Management, and the band's PR firm confirmed to Variety that they were no longer affiliated with the group. Loveless label Rise Record and a helper of BMG also stated that Loveless is no longer on the imprint. Quote, "Rise Records / BMG has dissolved its partnership with Loveless and the band will no longer be part of our roster," shared with the label in a statement. And again, like I said before on Julian's tweets, Loveless was supposed to drop their first album with Rise Records, Loveless 2, on September 13th, but now there's most likely not happening, and a lot of uncertainty was going on with the band's future, and most likely not happening. Both Julian and Dylan, but obviously Dylan separating himself from the project, probably not going to speak on anything on Loveless's behalf, hasn't said anything about the tour being canceled or the status of the band. But like I said, Julian did deactivate his Twitter account, but on his Instagram and TikTok are still active, with the comments obviously pouring, very much so. If you can see from both right here TikTok and right here Instagram, talking about what happened with the cancellation of the tour, and a lot of fans explaining what happened, including myself, to some fans on Loveless, as my fiance was a huge fan of Loveless, and this was very sad to her as this news broke out. I would like to also say, unfortunately, at this time, neither of them have responded or made any sort of claims at all, as right now it's on a standstill, just about a week almost of the news coming out. But I did want to just talk about it just because it is very fresh off the mind right now, and that makes sense. I did have to spend a lot of time researching this, so if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Again, all my sources are going to be in the description about this, and if you are a victim of domestic abuse or violence, please call the hotline below in the link in the description. There is always someone out there for you, and even if that's not what you need, reach out to someone. There will always be someone to listen to you no matter what. But if you did enjoy this video, again, please like and subscribe, share to your friends if you know about this band. And it's very unfortunate to what happened to Julian from Loveless, but obviously we make our own future, I guess is what I should say. And if this is what is actually true and happened, then all these pop punk bands have a reputation for a reason, and it seems like one falls right after another. I will possibly make an updated video if Loveless makes a statement about this, or if any more information comes out as well. But my name is Rowan Pino. I am a alt indie hyperpop artist. If you want to check out my music as well, that'd mean the world to me. Peace out, guys. Hope you enjoyed this style of commentary video. I'll see you guys, well, not hopefully see you guys on this situation again, but I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Have a good night.